Today we're writing the story to tell you how deep a diver has to dive to uncover the depths of his own heart.
Hint, it's a little bit deeper than a back alley sex worker's fanny pack. Welcome back, everyone.
And if you're new here, welcome. And thanks for humoring Harrison's mom and actually checking out this podcast.
She's a very persuasive lady. I should know. I thought I looked good in a V-neck sweater vest for years. Anyway, you're listening and maybe watching to Beer Me That Movie, the podcast where we take funny beer names and turn them into blockbuster movie ideas.
This week is a feature episode. That just means we're taking one of the beers from last week's Fast Five episode and turning it into a full-length movie idea.
Like right now!
But before we jump in, we're going to add a new element to the feature in 2025, something we're calling
Midpoint Mashup.
Ooh, yes. To spice things up a bit, we're going to pick a spot in tonight's feature, probably somewhere in the second act, and select a random prompt that will most likely throw us and the story a serious curveball.
And if that sounds like a lot of work, don't worry. We'll be the ones doing it, or at least trying to.
Yes, I've been told that our attempts and failures are often the best part of this podcast.
Speaking of the best part of the podcast, tonight's feature presentation is Back Alley Kitty from Stonecloud Brewing out in Oklahoma, which we covered last week in the Fast Five and picked.
That's right. But you don't need to go back and listen to last week's show at all. I mean, we hope you do, but you don't need to. There's no homework to enjoy this show. Heck, you don't even know anything about beer.
All you really need is ears and a brain.
If I was single, that and there was a Tinder for nerds, that would be my About Me section.
What would a Tinder for nerds be called, Harrison?
Binder, of course.
Binder, I hardly even know her.
Well, then maybe you should just stick to Tinder, John. Binder is for nerds looking for love. It's a wholesome community.
Oh, boy. Okay. One more thing. If you enjoy this ride, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss next week's Fast Five when we dig for more movie gold by looking at beer names that you check in.
And hey, we want to hear from you. Leave us some feedback. Tell us what you loved or what you would have done differently with this one.
Yeah, maybe your version makes more sense. Probably not, but we'll read it anyway.
Drop us a comment, send us a voicemail, or slide into our DMs. We'll shout out our favorites in next week's recap.
Don't hold back, folks. We need the validation. Now, let's peel back the wrapper and get into our 20-second feature film.
And now, John and Harrison present our feature film.
I always like to start with kind of a brief summary. Like if you picked up the VCR tape and you read the back of the cover and you looked for pictures of Leah Thompson, what would you read if you picked up Back Alley Kitty, which you definitely would?
Yeah, of course. The it's probably floating behind us now, but the poster, the picture of the front of this movie is gonna be ridiculous. Well, if the Fast Five is any indication, so probably something along the lines of like, you know, oh boy, looking for love in all the wrong places. Well, not in this back alley. Follow one young man as he tries to save his own life and maybe more before time runs out, with maybe the help of a mystical woman in an alley that he has sex with. I don't know how much you can put in the back of VCR tape. It's probably not that.
We just went from the back shelf of Blockbuster to Fencer's unsellable
right.
goods.
We're in Fencer's now. Oh my gosh, buying knives and pornography. Okay, so but in the Fast Five, I think what we got to with this movie, which may be a better representation of it, is so Back Alley Kitty, even though it's probably a slang term for possums, in our mind and in the Beer Me That Movie universe, this is some lady of the night that hangs out behind a bar, but not any lady. She's magical somehow, some kind of interdimensional being, not an interdimensional sexy nun, but maybe close to it. And And this guy who we're going to follow around, and his name is Matt. So as is tradition, we're going to name this after the person who checked it in, the protagonist tonight. Thanks, Matt.
Matt's got over 12,000 check-ins on Untapped.
Look how trash.
And one of them that turned into a movie.
Yes. So thank you for checking this thing in and sending us down this ridiculous possum hole. I was going to say rabbit hole, but I'll say possum hole and hope that doesn't kick us off the internet. So anyway, and we're going to follow Matt, this character, as he kind of is trying to do something in this bar, find something. I think is what we said. Some mystery is unfolding. He keeps messing up, ending up in this back alley with this back alley kitty, this lady that he runs the bases with, if you will.
I like that.
Enters the back of her hatchback and
it's a great entendre.
There you go. And that resets the day every time that happens until he figures out why the heck he's here. So now we're going to unpack all that, get deep in the weeds, find out more about Matt, about this mysterious woman, and why we're all here. But that's kind of what we know up to this point. So now the next, however many more minutes, is us diving deep into Matt and this back alley kitty.
Back alley kitty, if you did miss it in the Fast Five, had a picture of like a possum sort of resembling a cat.
Right.
So that's where the possum references are going to come in. Plus, I think back alley kitty is like the same as calling a trash panda raccoon.
Right, exactly.
So
I love these slang terms.
We'll find ways to work in possum, but I think in this movie, the back alley kitty, who's going to be named Katherine,
yes,
because she was tagged in Matt's check-in. So
sorry. Katherine.
But the back alley kitty is going to be like to your point, like like a very, maybe even like the personification of the universe itself.
Ooh. Does she kind of look like Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy? Maybe less Ivy, maybe more trash.
More poison. Yeah.
Yeah, she's right. She's wearing clothes that look like they're made of recycled things, but kind of covered in a thin layer of dirt. But
not recycled in the traditional sense, recycled in like just picked up off the ground.
It was on maybe another person recently.
When you see Katherine the back alley kitty, you immediately know she is a couple guys' banana whale.
Oh yeah, exactly right. A lot of back alley kitties were once banana whales, and I mean still are.
Maybe still are. Yeah.
Of course, that's a title that never leaves you. But she's great, kind of scary, sexy, if you will.
Yeah.
But that doesn't bother Matt, and so we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. But let's talk about Matt for a minute. Let's talk about kind of what's maybe happening in this bar. Let's start with Matt, because I think we need to, as we always do, dive into this character, learn a little bit about his backstory, why the heck he's in this bar, and why the heck he feels like, making sweet, sweet love to a trash person on the side of it, which, hey, no, I mean, do you live your life, but why he's going for this. So what do we know about him, John? What are we thinking about Matt? What kind of person is he? Let's start there.
Well, so in the beginning of the film, if we're watching this on the silver screen,
yes,
I would want the opening, like the first minute, everything about Matt.
Okay.
And in that opening, you see his naval career as a diver.
Okay.
He leaves the Navy as a decorated diving officer. Sure.
Yep.
Sorry, I was Army, not Navy. I know they have badges for diving and stuff. They get cool little awards.
Yep,
good job,
do.
Navy
Cute
boys. So anyways, we see Matt's career through the Navy. Think Tom Cruise, Top Gun sort of thing, a little Iceman.
Yep.
And then he's a private diver for money.
Okay.
And you see celebrated like Matt again hits deepest levels, like all these newspaper articles about him, and each scene is like interlaced with Matt making passionate love to a woman, but you can always tell it's in a hotel.
Got it.
He loves the rush. He loves going deep. That's one of his taglines.
It says it all too much all the time.
And
going deep tonight.
He almost like the first lines you hear from Matt, or maybe you see him texting or something, is like, tonight, I'm my last night before I go on the world's deepest dive. I'm hitting girl number 50. I'm checking her off the list. It's going to be 50 girls in this year. Matt gets around.
Good Lord.
That's his love, right? Diving is who he is. and making love to women that he often doesn't know is what he does.
He loves diving in the sea and diving in the land, if you will. He's a land diver, a land lover. So, okay, got it. So Matt, I'm kind of getting vibes of like Dennis from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, like kind of a jerk, really high on his horse. But yeah, like again, Top Gun and Tom Cruise is a good reference as well. Like he's got the accolades, he's got the pictures on the wall.
He's got the Matt method. Make them comfortable, act like you care about them, take their pants off, and then stick it in.
M-A-T-T, baby. He's got it all.
Dennis is a perfect reference.
The Matt. Some of this is redundant, Matt. Shut up. It works perfectly every time. You didn't. There's something about asking for consent or shut up.
Let's then stick it in. It's written into the bylaws.
That's right. I say my funny "I'm gonna dive deep" line as long as they don't scream. Okay, so Matt. But anyway, Matt's wooing these women, but leaving them in the morning certainly. So like that's kind of I think an important. I mean, hopefully a takeaway you have from this montage is like Matt is not a relationship guy. He's living life in the fast lane, in the deep diver lane. No time for relationships for whatever reason.
Not necessarily evil.
Right, exactly.
He joined the Navy when he was young. He was often going from place to place. Like even the Navy doesn't really afford a young man the lifestyle of building a marriage that's going to be successful. Although it is the Navy, so it's kind of like working at Best Buy.
Yes, but he doesn't choose that route. He's still again committed to the job. He's rising quickly, as you said, and he's discharged in the private sector, and it's just as crazy there, and has chosen this life of I'll be a single dude. That montage, a lot of montage references tonight. At the beginning of Wedding Crashers is what I'm seeing, where it's just Vince Vaughn and what's his face, Owen Wilson with different women at different weddings.
Yes.
They're just living that life of, again, one night stands and not thinking anything of it. But so anyways, that's a lot about Matt. So great diver, bit of a womanizer, but just kind of being a 28-year-old guy who's successful and attractive and confident and cool. Got it. And a very important, his biggest dive, the deepest dive in the world is happening tomorrow. So he's looking for that last weight to put on his belt, the last flipper to throw on his suit before the last lady to.
Why do you got so many notches in your scuba tank?
Right. This thing's not structurally sound anymore. It's going to blow up. What are you counting back here?
Yes, that kind of leads us into we learn about Matt, and then going into the movie is like an email from his boss. Like, don't forget tomorrow, tonight's the night.
That's
last
right.
night before you're the deepest dive ever in human history, going into the, what is it? The
Mariana Trench.
Mariana Trench tomorrow.
Got to send you down there for some reason. So rest up and hydrate tonight. And it cuts to him like doing shots at the bar and drinking kamikazes and whatever. And yeah, so he's not doing that. Again, the fast lane is all he knows. But I think maybe, so we're in this fun bar, and it's, it's a Navy bar. People's pictures on the walls. Maybe people are wearing Hawaiian shirts. I don't know. There's a piano somewhere. Somebody's slam music on, pool table. And Matt's in there. Again, not in the Navy anymore, and so maybe kind of an old head, and gets to this bar, walks in, talks to like the guy by the door that he knows, bumps into somebody playing pool. Maybe they have a bit of a back and forth. I don't care who you are, old guy. I'm sure you're washed out. Otherwise, you'd still be in. Blah blah blah. Maybe they have a little bit of a nice man Top Gun moment with some young 18-year-old kid who's just trying to play pool. Sees the 18 women he's already slept with in there and tries to dodge them and find someone he hasn't. So there's kind of this series of events that happens pretty quickly as Matt gets into this bar. That's more or less not too eventful.
So when Matt gets into this bar, a little tussle, a little walk. He's been here before.
Yes, yeah, I think so.
We learned that the ocean is deep, but Matt's dating pool is shallow in this bar after realizing, like, maybe even just visually in the movie, like, sees a girl, X on her face, sees a girl, X on her face. Can't do that one, can't do that one. But so what's his first move when he gets into the bar? Is he going to order a drink? Is he...
I think he does. I think it's the move right after all the kind of back and forth with a few people and avoiding the women he doesn't want to talk to. Maybe he goes up to the bar, gets a drink, looks around, and we know tonight his mission is find that number 50. So he's in like hunter mode. He's probably not looking for small talk or this or that. He's just trying to find the prettiest lady at that bar and trying to figure out what kind of cool thing he has to say to get her attention.
Yeah, Matt's getting painted as a playboy because that's what he is.
Yeah.
But I picture him kind of like Dennis from Sunny Philly is a great example in that he's a terrible person, but he's sort of smooth enough. He's not going to seduce a woman who's like graduated law school. No. But the woman who wanted to go to law school might fall for one of his lines.
Look at the prettiest townie in the bar.
Yes.
Easily. Right. And maybe he's a level up from Dennis, but still in the same ballpark. And maybe for whatever reason tonight, he's kind of failing at that. Maybe he's trying the lines he usually does. And it's a small world, probably an even smaller town. Maybe he's kind of almost hit that threshold of like, well, I've slept with too many women. They all talk. Now I'm just the guy that sleeps with all the women. And he's maybe striking out a little bit to begin with, and is kind of off his game, starts getting in his own head, and could just be as simple as like, all right, well, I gotta get outside, grab some fresh air. Like, I don't know what the heck is wrong with tonight. Just take a minute, have another drink, get a quick stretching, a couple squats in the alley, and I'll get back in there and I'll own this thing. Like, I'm Matt the diver. I can do anything.
Isn't there a character something that Bob the Builder?
Bob the Builder.
Matt the diver.
This is Matt the diver.
Have you ever struck out horribly at a bar?
Of course. Yeah, that's all you do there. That's right. Oh, no. That's all you do at the bar is you just swing and you miss most of the time. Well, you don't pick up girls at bars. You go to libraries. But yes, John, I have. I'm sure. I can't think of any. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Got a few. There they came. Those memories I buried very deep. Just pop right back to the surface.
At the time, it's like the worst thing that goes on in your day, week, or month.
Yeah.
But looking back on them, it's now that I'm in my 40s, it's a lot easier to look back. Like there was a time I tried to, I was in the Army base next to Canada.
Okay.
So we would go to Canada a lot because you could drink at 19.
Yeah.
And at 19, you drink too much. Yes. And I remember going to try and put a move on this girl I thought I wanted to dance with. I don't dance, but we've been drinking a lot.
That night you do, yeah.
And I go up to the bar with my beer bottle. It was a Molson XXX,
Ooh,
which was already a pickup line.
Yes.
And I go to put my beer bottle on the bar, but instead I miss the bar. The beer bottle breaks. The beer spills all over her. Glass is shattering. But I'm 19, maybe 20, so I'm like, I just roll right through it. And I set the remains of the broken glass down on the bar, and I was like, hey, do you want to dance? And and we never danced.
Oh my gosh, that's a good. I don't have one. I don't think I have one that's that good. I just remember moving around like a beach ball at a Nickelback concert, going from one girl at the bar. Let me try this, that, and the other. Well, she turned around. All right, I'm just going to roll this way, find another girl. Hey, what's your name? Do you like basketball? No? All right. Neither do I. And just kind of bumping along an entire bar. And then all I did was shut myself down and open up no new conversations, then decided that night was just going to be for beer drinking and making fun of people.
As so many are. Yeah, those are the best nights.
Those are the best
you
nights.
need to start there. But Matt's never done that.
Right. Matt's never had to do that before. Or if he has, it's a quick dodge roll. Okay, this one's not happening. On to the next.
But he doesn't usually strike out either. He might strike out once or twice, but he's never gone 3 outs. He's never had to swap innings. So to your point on
Yeah.
this night, Matt's not running into any quick wins or not
No.
even any green at all.
Nothing. No
So,
good signs.
What do you do at that point if you're not willing to say, well, tonight I'm just gonna I gotta find my 50th
Right.
conquest
He's not going to
tonight.
be shut down. He's a go-getter. And yeah, I think he does jump outside, try to catch his breath, doing some stretches in the alley, maybe some squats, pumping himself up. And that's when he catches something moving in the garbage or something out of the corner of his eye in the back of this alley. That is the back alley kitty, aka Katherine, who kind of emerges from the darkness and maybe, says something kind of whimsical, maybe, and tonight, not the night you thought it would be, Matty boy. Or
But she's much hotter than that, though.
You're right. She's not an old witch. I don't know.
Much more. The word sultry comes to mind.
Right.
Like,
Poison ivy. I'm channeling my Uma Thurman. I don't know if I have a good.
what are you doing back here, big boy? Cat
Okay.
got your tongue. Cats are gross.
Cats are gross. Oh, hey there. This obviously surprises Matt. And I think all he has is like 2 speeds, fast and faster. So he's just turning around and immediately it's just jumping back in the game. Does a quick once over and is like, got it. Like this doesn't hit the threshold of no, not for me.
If there is a threshold for Matt.
It's real deep, deeper than the Mariana Trench. It's way down there. You can't even see it for Matt. Sees this woman kind of glistening in the darkness. Is she covered in grease from an old fry trap? Is it just the stars that night? We're not asking these questions.
She does have a glow about her.
Definitely does have a glow.
And some dirt.
And a smell of bacon. But it's an alley. There's lots of smells back there. Matt's up for an adventure. So he gets pulled in by this magical lady who's giving off poison ivy vibes. Big doe eyes, right? A sultry voice. And it's just like, I was until I saw you. I was striking out, but now I feel like I've hit a home run, or he says something horrible.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And she lures him to the back of this Honda hatchback, and
but they just instantly bang, right? Like,
yeah.
She's like, yep, I'll take you.
Right, you're in the right place, the right time. Maybe she even says that, and he's like, that's kind of weird, but
I like that.
Whatever.
That's good for the movie, though.
Right, exactly. And pulls him into the Honda hatchback. They start going at it, and then maybe she whispers something also confusing, something like, see you soon, or, be careful what you wish for, or let's not do this again. Something in his ear as the climax is about to happen, and he's like, what? And then poof, there's like a flash, darkness.
Like right as he's about to finish, he's like,
yes.
Don't finish.
That's what makes me do it. That's my trigger. Oh man. Yep. So that happens. And then Matt just kind of like comes to, like standing in the street, 20 feet from the bar. There we go.
Comes also.
But what's happened?
No, she didn't finish.
Yeah, she definitely didn't. But Matt did, and he finds himself back on the street. And I think for like the first time this happens, he's like disoriented. Maybe he realizes though he's immediately like not as drunk as he was, which is kind of weird, but he doesn't clue in on that too much. But it's just kind of disoriented and like, wait a second, what? But keeps walking towards the bar because that's the direction he was going in, and sees the guy by the door, and he says the same thing he said to Matt last night, or what day is it? He's kind of having those confused thoughts. Basically feels like he's in deja vu, I think, where he walks in, bumps into the guy at the pool table, says to say, oh, old man, you washed out, otherwise you'd be teaching my diving class, but you were never good enough, or whatever. It's like, what? That happens. So like the same conversations that Matt had before happening again. And he's like, what the heck day is it? Well,
And
I
like
gotta
any
stop
good diver,
drinking.
he's got a dive watch.
Yes. Okay. Of course. On him all the
because
time.
I'm supposed to be in the Marianas Trench.
Right.
So let me make sure. And he
Right.
pulls up
I'm
and
in the
checks
right
his watch.
place.
He's like, all right, yeah, it's 9:45 at night, and it's the
Weird.
night before. God,
Right.
that's weird. I like imagined the whole thing.
Right. Exactly. He's trying to make sense of it. Did he make it up? Was it earlier than he thought it was in the night? And he's just, but these guys are still there, and he had the same conversations and all this stuff. And he walks through the bar, sees all the same women that were there earlier. They all give him kind of the disgusting look again. And he's having that classic, I think we feel like we've all had a deja vu feeling of like, I've been here, I've seen this, I know what's going to happen next. And he tries to brush it off, but probably after 5-10 minutes of this, he starts to freak out a little bit and is like, I need to get out of here. I need to breath the fresh air. Runs out to the side alley again, huffing and puffing, almost about to pass out, and stands up straight. He's in the alley now. He looks to the left, and who's glistening in the moonlight but that back alley kitty, aka Katherine again, staring right at him, almost eerily so. And he maybe startles him a little bit. Oh my God, you again, you, what's happening to me? Like, what day is it? Are you, what's going on here? Is there a carbon monoxide leak? Like what's happening to me? And maybe she lets out like a smirk, and they have an exchange. And I don't know how much, Katherine reveals now, probably not a ton. Maybe it says something a little snarky, like back so soon. Usually happens on the second try. And he's like, second try? What are you talking about? And she's like, come on, you'll figure it out. But until then, let's jump into my hatchback again. And so Katherine's just having a ball.
Catherine is
or two.
Girl Matt at this point.
Right. A little, yeah, she's got some animalistic tendencies, let's say. She's down to clown whenever Matt shows up.
But if you're watching this as a movie, that's enough where you get an understanding of who is Matt, what type of person is he, what are his goals,
right?
And what happens to him is he sleeps with Katherine.
Yes, again.
He finds himself back where he began, and clumsily stumbles through it all again, thinking like, wait a minute, this is already, and then he encounters Katherine again, who doesn't say like, I've never met you before, but she lets on this has happened before. So that should be enough for you as the audience to think, okay, we're in some sort of time loop.
Oh yeah.
And that's enough to close out Act 1 and bring us into what'll be a little bit more unpacking of this journey for Matt in Act 2.
And the plot thickens. Act 2.
So how does Act 2 pick up? Are we still in the alleyway with Katherine?
Yeah, well, I think it shoots him right back again now for the third time to the start of the line or outside the bar. And he's like, holy crap, I just did this. And maybe, we're seeing some of those fun things that can happen in these time loop movies where he walks in and the guy at the door tries to tell him like a joke, and Matt says the joke quicker before the guy at the door can, and it confuses him a little bit. The guy is playing pool.
Because they have two boobs and only one.
Oh yeah, hey, you heard this one before, huh? That was better than a 3-boob lady, a 4-boob lady. Ah, you got me. So Greg jumps on that joke. The guys playing pool that are like, maybe before one of them took a swing at him, and this time he like dodges it or grabs their hand or something like that. So he's just, I don't know, using the information he has, and like a good diver, just putting it to work right away.
Becoming an expert at this night in this bar.
Exactly, which is all his brain knows how to do, is recognize patterns and take advantage of them, because he's the best.
And if I'm Matt at this point and I've put together, okay, every time I bang Katherine, I go back to 9:15 p.m.
Right.
And I'm back in line.
Great.
I'm going through the line, out the back, right to Katherine.
This is awesome. I'll keep doing this, have a blast, and if things go south in the bar, I'll just go back to Katherine, and I'll do this till I die. Love this bar, love this night. So he could be thinking a little bit like that, right? That like he's not alarmed or terrified. He just kind of can't explain what's going on. knows there's this mystical, magical lady in the alley that'll do him in the back of this car. And that's good enough for Matt to start. And I imagine this happening a couple times, maybe more than a couple, where he keeps just kind of showing up in the back alley, sometimes immediately, sometimes after a couple minutes of going around the bar and trying to see if we can figure out what's happening. And Catherine's there, ready to go. And yeah, and maybe at like the 10th time, she's like, "Oh my God," again under her breath. And Matt's like, "What? Did you say something different this time?" Yeah, no, don't worry. Happy to see you. Figured this would tonight would go down like this for me and for you. You know, giving little hints to Matt that she knows more certainly than he does, but not revealing too much. And the day resets, and so this happens a few times. But she's got to eventually kind of give him a big clue to get him off the track of like, no, Matt, you're not in heaven. This isn't you just at your favorite bar and then having, one night stands in the back alley with this beautiful lady. This is something different.
I think if you listen to last week's Fast Five,
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if I already said this or not, so sorry if I did, but you probably remember a movie called Unknown Depths, where a diver goes down and encounters mermaids. We nuke the ocean.
I hope you remember.
So that's kind of becoming Matt in this movie. And I think Katherine is playing the part of the universe intervening, trying to prevent Matt from going down there, diving, causing humankind to go to war with mermaid kind.
Yeah.
And so that's Catherine's role. I think after, let's say 20, 30 hatch bangs, she probably would even say I know I'm here every night. I know that you're coming back every night. I'm kind of trying to prevent something from happening.
Right. And she could even be like, we can do this forever, Matt, but I'm not why you're here. Like,
yes,
this isn't happening for you to come into this alley and keep having sex with me. This is happening for a different reason.
As she's like getting pushed up against a brick wall in the alley.
Growling.
She's like, I know I only have about 30 more seconds to tell you this story before it's tomorrow again.
And you might forget some of it, but listen closely. Right. I'm not the reason you're here. You're here to figure something out. And if you don't figure it out, maybe she says like the world's going to end or maybe just says you need to figure it out. This won't stop until you do. And then, and remember, don't finish. Whoop, and he just resets, standing up again in front of the bar. So, yeah, so I like that. That eventually happens where she plants that seed in his head of like, wait, what? What did that alley lady say? I'm here for something else. And man, I don't know about that.
So
yeah,
we're getting into Act 2. And I feel like now is a good time to try our first mid movie mashup.
I think that's what we called it.
Yep.
Okay.
So this is the first time this is happening. We've created a whole bunch of random prompts that will take this film in a direction that neither Harrison or I planned for.
Holy crap. We're
and
about
in order
to do it.
To figure out what craziness is coming at us tonight, I'm going to ask Harrison to pick a number between 1 through 6.
Okay.
To decide what kind of prompt we're going to have. We've got a couple to choose from here. There's like improv challenges and dialogue prompts.
Okay.
So you'll pick a number 1 through 6 to get started.
I'm going to start with 3.
Okay, 3.
Oh boy.
That's going to take us to the twist prompt.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm going to ask you to pick a number between 1 and 12.
12. Oh, 6.
6, shooting for the middle. Okay.
I keep doing it. I don't know why.
Here we're going to, the prompt is in Act 2, we need to add a surprise celebrity cameo.
Surprise celebrity cameo. Okay. We can do this in a bar that's been the same 25 times. We didn't notice Nick Nolte chewing on a bottle in the corner. Okay, hold on. Oh man, how could we pop someone famous in here? I mean, it could
easily just be Leonardo DiCaprio banging a 18-year-old girl.
Right.
Upstairs saying, "Get out of here, junior playboy."
Right. What if though? maybe this is playing too much of the universe, but what if at this point, so we have the night resetting again. We have Matt going in. The door guy tells the door guy his joke to him. Door guy laughs. He avoids the kind of pool fight altogether by sidestepping the person that bumps him into those guys in the first place. And because of that, finds himself directly at the bar, let's say a minute or two before he has any other time. So he's interacting with the bartender for the first time. And the bartender could be anybody. Could be
Ted Danson?
Ted Danson. Silver Fox Ted Danson. Perfect at the bar. And maybe he's, and again, Matt's like now disoriented. For the first time, though, he's kind of avoided a thing that's always happened and found himself like on a new path inside this bar. And who's there to greet him but everyone's favorite bartender from Cheers, Ted Danson, who says something, innocuous. You gonna order something or what? Or what's it going to be tonight, Matt? The usual. That says something like that. Maybe he's looking around, Ted Danson's bartender character is, and fidgeting with his pockets or what have you, and scanning the bar up and down like he's looking for something, missing something. Matt clues in on it, but is having a night and a half himself, and it's just like, actually, I probably should have the last 25 times I was in here. And Ted Danson's character is like, what are you talking about? Ooh. You always do. What do you got?
Can we make Sam from Cheers?
Yes.
Kind of the villain in this?
Sure.
So they have their little bartender interaction.
Yes.
And Sam's a playboy himself.
Oh yeah. One of the best.
And he's seen Matt come in this bar and take women home before.
Yeah.
He's like, look, hey, bud, I know you got the big dive coming up tomorrow.
All right.
Big fan, big support, love what you do. Tell you what, you need something tonight, just order her a drink and give me a wink. And I'll make sure that she'll do anything for you.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And then like gets pulled away before Matt can be like, what the fuck, guy? Or like, what was that about? Okay, I like that. Yes. Yes. So now he's got that in his head and he's like, what the heck?
Do you think he would try it?
Matt?
Do you think he would, like, okay, so he's banged Katherine, let's say 40 times by now.
Yeah. Yep.
He knows what happens if he bangs Katherine. He knows he can. He's struck out here a few times, but maybe there's a new girl that catches his eye dancing he didn't see before. And he's like, actually, yeah, I mean, I could get 50 and 51 and maybe get out of this little rat's nest I created for myself somehow.
Okay.
And then I get 51. Yeah. Do you think he would take Ted up on his offer and buy the opposite of an angel shot for his new mark?
I don't know if he would, or maybe it could be a scenario where like he thinks he's going to go through with it, but then his plan last minute is he's not going to, or something like that. But maybe Sam/Ted gets the wrong impression. I don't know if he would, because also like again he's banged Katherine 40 times in his mind in like, the span of 4 hours. He's I don't know if he's got as much stamina and motivation left to be turning to illegal drugs and, sexual assault. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, it's a movie, not life advice.
Yes.
But I think we could make Matt a little more villainous and give him a bigger hurdle to overcome.
Okay.
We know he's looking for number 50. He got it, but he keeps getting stuck back in time. So he's probably, after a while, he's looking for a way out of this. So he's like, okay, yeah, I got my 50 and I'm going to count that, even though she's weird and she makes me go back in time. But if I can get 51 and then go on my dive tomorrow and stop coming back here, I mean, what guy would want to end that loop? I don't know. But maybe Matt's like, he's like, I need to do my dive. Like, so yeah, you know what? Can you send her a drink? And Ted's like, yeah, no problem. So he cooks up this drink for her.
Okay.
and sends it out to the girl dancing. Matt waves.
Right.
She comes over and talks to him. He's like, I'm Matt. I don't know if you heard of me. I'm the greatest diver in the world. You can see on my shirt it says I dive deep because I dive deep. Do you want to dance? And she's like, yeah, sure, I'll dance with you. Maybe they dance together for a little while.
Sweet.
She's feeling it. She's feeling good. Maybe a little imbibed. Maybe there was something in the drink. We don't need to show that on camera.
Okay.
But then Matt's like, hey, you know what would make me feel really good before I do this dive for the world tomorrow is if you would go to the bathroom with me and we could hook up in a stall.
Oh.
And I've always wanted to do that. You're so beautiful.
Such a good dancer.
You're like, I've never danced with anyone like this before. I've never really felt this way before, but I would make me feel honored to bring that memory into the deepest part of the ocean that any human's ever been. And she's at that point, she's maybe like, blah, blah, blah. She's like fumbling her words a little bit.
Okay.
But she allows Matt to take her in there, and they're starting to go through with it. And maybe that's when Matt might get a feeling of like, is this technically rape?
Yes.
And he's even trying to qualify. He's like, hey, do you remember what you said your name was? And she's like, at which point we could have Katherine come in and save her, the girl that he's date raping.
Jump through the window.
Like come through the and be like, Matt, it won't, if you do it with her or me, the same thing's going to happen.
Right.
And she kind of gives him a little like, plus this is really fucking shitty of you to do. I thought you were at least a little better than that.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my God, yeah, I can't believe I was going to do this. And wait, what do you mean? She's like, if you bang her or me, you're going to end up back in that line anyways.
Right.
And I'm conscious.
Yeah.
So he leaves her in the bathroom stall, goes out back to the hatch.
Okay. Doesn't do the deed. And maybe not to give him an out, but maybe he was, kind of. So before that whole scene happened, Katherine told him that's not why you're here, to come bang me forever. And so he has this new conversation with Ted Danson. And it's like, oh, do I just say yes to whatever anyone says to me? Is that how I get out of here?
Yeah.
Like, this is horrible, but I guess I'll do it once. And if I'm wrong, this whole night gets erased anyway. So I don't want to get him off the hook for going through with something creepy, which I guess he bails on at the end, which is good. But maybe that's his thinking. It's like, and maybe he says it to Katherine, like, well, I thought I had to do like whatever happened. I was just trying to say yes. Like I got an improv show. She's like, this is not an improv show. No, life kind of
real
is.
life, Matt.
Okay, but let's not get too literal with it, Matt. You're not here to have sex with this lady in the bathroom. You're here for something else. You need to figure this out. We're running out of time. Maybe she says something, time, this whole night resets. And she's like, well, it can't forever. So maybe she's giving up a little bit more in this moment where, Matt's really, really messed up and going the wrong direction. Because to your earlier point about what's at stake here, like, it is Katherine's job to save the world. And so far, all she's done is had sex with this guy in the alley 40 times. I'm sure her bosses are like, what do we thought maybe 10, but 40? Like, you need to put more dirt in your hair. You need to cover yourself a little bit to throw up, Katherine. Like, we need to stop coming out here right away and trying to have sex with you. He needs to be in this bar finding the thing he needs to find, or the whole universe is screwed. And
then you see Katherine flick her panties at his face like a rubber band, and we're right back in line at the bar again.
Don't finish,
9:15.
Right, and he's just in the street moaning a little bit, and this time the guy at the door is like, "Are you okay, Matt?" Yeah. That one was interesting. That one what? Never mind. 4 boobs. Hey, that's my favorite joke. And then he gets in. So this happens again. So now he's like, all right, got it. Clearly I'm not here to have sex with somebody. That's unfortunate. I'll deal with that later. At this point, so he dodges so now like we're kind of seeing as he makes different decisions, different opportunities open up to him in this bar. So says the joke to the guy at the door, dodges the whole entire interaction with the guys at the pool table. Now is face-to-face Ted Danson again, but just avoids that conversation too. Yeah, whatever, Sam. Good to see you. you know, I'll just take a beer, send it down here. I gotta sit down and think about some stuff. Oh, okay. Hey, I want to tell you about something. Yeah, never, that's great, Sam, but not tonight. I got a lot on my mind.
Anyways, you're a great diver.
Right.
I really support you. If I can do anything for you, no.
Nope, I don't need any help or whatever the hell.
Tonight
you
I'm
call
here
it.
just to drink by myself. He
Right.
kind of says, and he's like, "Oh my
Right.
god, I can't believe I even said
Right
that."
out loud. And maybe Sam is like, by yourself, yeah, but not for long, right?
Yeah.
No, I you know, we don't. Let's not jump to conclusions. And so he scoots down to the bar, all the way down, and is right, kind of having that moment like, drink to myself. What am I doing here? What the heck is happening? And is sitting there, kind of maybe talking to himself, acting kind of weird, and but alone. And let's have like a lovely young lady sit down next to him, and at like this point maybe he's most of the time already like out in the alley in every other night.
He just heads right to the alley, gets
Right.
what he wants, and starts over
He
again.
starts over
It's like
again.
playing Mario Brothers, but just
Right.
running right into the. Yep. I love the restart screen.
That's great.
But I
Yeah.
like, so now he's sitting at the bar. He's not
Yeah.
making moves. And can we have this girl be
Yes.
the same girl to add a little bit of friction? Like, but now she comes up to the bar and she's like, "Hey, I haven't seen you here. Do you dance?" Or like kind of starts a conversation with him.
Okay, sure. Yeah, same girl. All right, let's do it. So now he's embarrassed, terrified, but she
She
has
doesn't
no
know
memory.
why.
Yeah, right.
He won't look her in the eyes.
Right, but that's unusual for Matt, and maybe kind of disarming for her to not have him throw some goofy line at her, or you know, and a different reaction she usually gets. Maybe she thinks it's like something about her, which it is. It's making him freak out. And she's like, "What? Is there something in my hair? You're like, you seen a ghost? Like, what's going on, man? I just asked you to dance. I didn't ask you to marry me." And he's like, "Oh my god." Okay, yeah. I know I'm not much of a dancer. Does he shut her down, or does he say
I think
yes?
it kind of falls apart.
Okay.
And then he goes to ask Katherine about it, who's wearing a mini skirt,
Of
and they
course.
bang, and he comes back in through the bar again.
Let's try again.
This time he does the same steps, turns down Sam the bartender. The girl comes up and asks if he dances, and he's got confidence. So he's like, "Oh yeah, baby, I dance. I don't know if you know about me. I'm the best dancing diver in the world. I go deep." And he's got his confidence
Got
back
it.
again,
Got
which
it.
kind of turns her off.
Okay.
So that breaks down again, goes and bangs Katherine. That's his escape valve. Comes into the bar again, approaches Jenny, let's call her Jenny, on
Yeah,
the dance floor.
That's good.
And just starts talking to her right away. He's like, "All right, I like Jenny, I think, or I owe her one at least."
Yeah. Right.
So he's talking, and this would be like the first time where he actually like tries to talk to a girl at a bar like another human being.
Okay. I like that. And I think that he probably learns pretty quickly that she's into a lot of the same stuff he is. Maybe she's like, it's got to be a little bit of the yin to the yang type thing, where he's like, right, kind of a bullheaded jock type dude who's like, I go down in the ocean in a dive, where she's maybe a bit more of a book. Where maybe
She's a binder girl.
She's a binder girl, definitely a member of binder, but she's like an engineer, let's say, but she works on scuba gear and technology, and maybe she's trying to invent her own rebreather that does something that you can rebreathe longer than ever than any other rebreather, thanks to some technology that she invented. But they get to talking about this stuff. They're nerding out on things they both like, and it's a genuine conversation that's great, and things are going well. So right, this feels right to Matt. It feels weird to Matt, actually, but he's like, gosh, I guess people do this. They come to bars and they talk. Whatever, I'll just go see Katherine. I'm done and get my fix with my back alley kitty. And then we'll see what happens tomorrow night or tonight again.
Yeah, if this was a movie, I think you could have fun with him going back to like having fun with Jenny, going back to Katherine again,
Right.
and eventually Katherine's like, "Look, you're not getting this. Like,
Right.
you need to do better than this."
Yeah.
And he's like, "What do you mean, like butt stuff?" And she's like, "I mean, if that's what you want,
Whatever.
okay, I'll do it." Like,
Right.
so you start to paint this juxtaposition between Jenny, who the audience clearly sees can give Matt what we
No one
think
else
would make
can.
him a better person.
Yeah, definitely.
And he keeps
that.
running back to Katherine, which is like eating a bag of chips instead of having a meal, and both are good.
Sure.
But I think it's somewhere here where we end Act 2 and Matt somehow has the realization that he wants to spend more time with Jenny.
Right, exactly. I think that's, yeah, exactly. And it can just kind of happen in, again, another kind of montage situation where things are going well, keep going well with Jenny for longer and longer. And then he says a dumb line, grabs her lower back, does some creepy thing, some too forward thing, and that sets Jenny off and shuts the whole thing down. Then he runs back to Katherine in the alley, but he keeps having more success longer and longer. And his interaction with Katherine is more and more like withdrawn, which Katherine loves, which then confuses him. She's like, you seem to be enjoying it. I'm not enjoying myself. Don't finish. Ah! And then he gets thrown back. But yes, he gets to that point where he shows up at the front of the bar, and for the first time in 60, 70 resets, his first thought is not, how do I dodge all these people and get to Katherine, but like, how do I not mess up this conversation with Jenny, and how do I get her number? How do I get this to go beyond this bar and this night? How can I get this night to end? I want to I want to see her again.
Talking to Jenny made him realize how much he loves diving, too.
Right, and why he loves it. And
75 Katherine bangs is great, but I really want to be in the ocean.
There's more to life than some floozy in an alley eventually. Right, and sees maybe even a future with Jenny, because again, he's like had 25 conversations with her, even though she's only really had one with him. But yeah, so yeah, we're getting to this point now where he's focused on her, and like maybe even thinking like, is this why I'm here? But what am I supposed to do? Like, what's supposed to happen? And so they're having their 25th, 27th, whatever conversation, Jenny and Matt are, and maybe at this point, like it's gotten again further than they've ever gotten. And Sam the bartender starts sauntering over to get another order for him, and Matt goes, yeah, I'll have my usual. Maybe like dust gets in his eye, or something, or he just kind of rubs his eye because he's tired, because he's been up for, in his mind, like 90 days just just having sex and drinking booze and not sleeping. So he's probably a little tired. And he gives accidentally Sam the wink signal. Even though, whatever, Sam takes it to mean like, oh, okay, I guess he knows somehow that I have these drugs that I can put in people's drinks. Brings the drinks over to Jenny and to Matt, and Matt sees him drop something in Jenny's drink. It could happen that way, or maybe Sam.
No, I think that's a perfect end to Act 2.
Okay. All right. Let's do that.
Matt does the accidental Sam drug signal. He remembers what Sam does. Sam might not, because it's the same night for him, but he sees Sam drop something in the drink.
Yes.
And then that takes us into the final act of the film. Exactly.
Yeah.
Buckle up for Act 3.
All right, cool. So Matt is finally nailing this conversation, but sees Sam throw the thing in the drink and prevents Jenny from drinking it. No, don't do that. I think that guy and the bartender just put something in your drink. I don't know why. And Jenny, engineer, she's smart. She puts her finger in there. It is fizzly. Oh, it smells like whatever.
She's got a little testing strip.
Pulls that out. There's fentanyl in here. Like, this would have killed me. At which point Sam's like, oh, fentanyl. His eyes go big, and he's like, oh, it's supposed to be MDMA. What? I mean, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I don't know anything about anything. I'm just a lonely bartender. And he just scoots out the back and runs out the bar. Free drinks.
Cover my shift, Larry.
Right.
Coach.
Coach. There you go. So that happened. So essentially, Matt has just saved Jenny's life. She would have been given this, what Sam thought was a some kind of whatever the hell they called roofie, but it would have actually killed her, which is a big deal because this is, we'll maybe learn in the postscript of this movie. Jenny's working on this technology that could also change the world for good in the exact opposite way that Matt would destroy it. But anyway, Matt saves her at that moment. And at that moment, she's like, they've had a great conversation all night. He's saying all these cool things, seems to know a lot about her, or at least agree with a lot of the things that she does. So she's definitely like becoming attracted to him. There's an attraction there, and it's maybe a bit over the top. And maybe that scares Matt a little bit of like, now he's kind of coming full circle of instead of always hunting for one night stands, he knows like one night stands are one night stands. Like they end. I don't want to like sleep with Jenny tonight and ruin this. Like, but my God, she's throwing me the eyes right now. I just saved her life. I've basically agree with everything she said. And, she thinks I'm actually awesome. I'm not really bragging about myself, just talking like a normal human. Everything's going so well. And I'm going to get what I actually want, but I can't do this. Like he's going to kind of shut down, cock block himself because he understands or thinks he understands what Katherine was talking about. That's not the way out of this thing.
And I think we could dramatize that.
Yep.
Like you have like Jenny sees the good in Matt sees the good in Matt,
right?
And she's like, oh my, I can't believe that happened. Thank you so much for saying something. You could have just easily let it happen. I'm so glad you didn't.
Yeah.
Do you want to go with me to another bar and get a drink and hang out for a little bit? And Matt's like, yes, I've done it. And he runs out back to tell Katherine, like, I figured out what I'm supposed to do. I did it. And then you don't even see, you just see Matt back in line again.
Right. I did it, Katherine. Let's celebrate. You're proud of me. Let's celebrate. Pants down. And Katherine goes, God damn it. Yep.
So now you see this whole now well-rehearsed Matt Jenny scene
That's
play
great.
out. Now he has to intentionally wink at Sam.
Right.
Tell Jenny that the drink is drugged. She says, all right, let's go to another place. And he's like, look, I don't want to go to another bar with you, but I'll be honest. This would be a big moment in the movie, but like, I'll be honest. I really think I like you. I like diving. You know about diving. And I want to get to know you better.
Right. And I think in that conversation that Jenny and Matt are having, Jenny reveals like, I do have this rebreather technology. I need someone to test it. I have a huge meeting tomorrow, on the other side of the country with a company that may buy it. And we can start producing more of them and testing more of them. But I don't have a diver, like, and that's the core probably of their conversation. It's like, will you help me? And he's like, well, I got to go to the bottom of the ocean, but I know some guys I can help out. At first, he's still focused on Matt stuff. At the end of this conversation, he's like, look, I don't have to do that dive tomorrow. Like, I want to, I've lived my dream. I've lived it for years. Many dreams, many deep dives, and many
50
different
this
kinds
year,
of places.
51.
Right? Exactly. So he's like, but I don't care about that anymore. Like, I want, like, how excited you are. You're doing something truly special. I just fall down in the water till the ground stops me. Like, I'm really not doing that much, if I'm honest with myself. But you're going to change the world. And so that's how they're right. Puts her in a cab, I guess, with the promise of like, let's meet tomorrow. I think I can help you. I can test this thing and we can take it to the next level. And she's like, holy crap. Like, this is exactly what I needed. Da, 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 da. So that happens, this destiny, if you will, this meeting that is, I think, Katherine's whole point for being the back alley kitty. It finally occurs and ends the way that it needs to end, with Matt not knee deep in any kind of kitty, but instead just putting Jenny in an Uber or a cab and waving goodbye.
I like that. He sends Jenny home, and it's kind of rushed, but he's evolved as a character. He started as a person that didn't have a lot of likable qualities other than smug.
Yeah.
And he's evolved into someone that prevented a terrible thing from happening to Jenny, and then sending her home without trying to get into her pants.
Exactly.
There'd probably be like, she probably would have even invited him. Like, honestly, you can come back to my place with me.
Oh,
And he's
definitely.
like, no.
It's
Like,
all right.
trust me. Under any other circumstance, yes, that's all I would want. But with you, Jenny, I think I want more than that. So let's meet tomorrow.
I like that.
And then Sam's fired, and
going to jail.
is that enough? That's enough to end.
Oh no, I think as Matt puts Jenny in the cab and waves goodbye, he's outside, of course, turns around, and there in the alley is Katherine kind of sauntering towards him out of the darkness, and he's like thumbs up to her, and she's like, yeah. And he takes a step forward and he grabs his pants, and he's like, just kidding. I know. No more of that. And she goes, oh, good. My job is done. And then Katherine morphs into a possum, mystically kind of melts into a possum in those clothes that she had on. Her fanny pack that was full of ham sandwiches just becomes her marsupial pouch.
Full of ham sandwiches.
And she squeaks and runs off into the night. And then Matt just has a moment of realization and starts to violently throw up all over the outside of the bar. Oh my God.
As the throw up hits the sidewalk, you see Finn carved into the throw up.
What have I done?
Matt having flashbacks about all the times she would just play dead while they were banging.
Eating food while they were banging.
Do you want half of this half sandwich I found?
Is this a tail down here? Don't finish. That was a weird one last time. So he ignored all the signs that maybe she was actually a possum, but also a interdimensional sex thing.
As we so often do.
When we're in the heart wants what the heart wants. Right, when you're in the back of a Honda hatchback, you can't see very well, number one.
So this wasn't really like a coming of age or anything. It was more a story about a man that had to realize sometimes you have to want what a man wants, not just what a boy wants.
There you go. I like that. And I do think the time loop stuff is fun, but I do think like we can recap this, but like it's a good next week. But it is a good, like, that's kind of life. Like, you kind of have to put your hand on the hot stove a couple times to be like, yeah, I don't like this, actually. This is stupid. I want something better. And we just watched him do that, watched Matt do that again and again until he finally figured out, like, right, I don't really need this or want this. And, right, not to mention, thank goodness, because if he'd gone through with the deep dive, unknown
we already told you what would happen is the movie Unknown Depths.
Exactly. So I think instead the fun postscript to this is Jenny's technology is what the Navy ends up using to make peace with the mer people, as opposed to Matt's approach would have just been trying to bang that mer lady. His head explodes and it sets off a nuclear war.
The ocean. So sometimes the only way to stop a war with mer people is possum sex.
That's it. Oh my gosh, that's an old grim fairy tale that didn't make the cut. Woo, okay.
So thanks for listening to us figure out Back Alley Kitty.
Back Alley Kitty. What a name.
And make sure to tune in next week. We'll be back with another Fast Five where we find more crazy names like Back Alley Kitty and come up with movie ideas.
That's right. And as always, we'll post more fun clips and videos and stuff on our social media. If you don't follow us on all those fun social sites, please do. So until next time,
peace.
Punch.
Give me your half a ham sandwich.
Give me your half a ham sandwich. Give me that pouch.
That's the wrong hole. It's not
happens all the time.